so many wars and battles have been won by this great nation. In times of great need and suffering, we have managed to persevere. The people that live in this society show that we are better than any other nation. But then, we have to think, what allowed for America to become so amazing? The framework that has built America from the inside out, which is the law of the land in which we live in. And it all began on September 17, 1787, when 39 men signed one of the most important documents in the history of the world, the Constitution of the United States. After 4 months of countless hours and days of work, they achieved something no other government had ever done before. At that time, what they created was unheard of. Every government was ruled by either a monarchy, feudalism, or theocracy. What the framers of the Constitution and Bill of Rights developed was a government run by the people, and not by a king, queen, or religious leader. Most people thought these men were out of their mind, but as Americans, we are known for not being afraid to try new ideas. What allowed for us to become the greatest nation in the world began with 3 words. We, the people. It may seem simple, but these words changed the course of the world. For once, in over 1,500 years, a republic was put into a government. However, this time, the framers were smart enough to learn from the mistakes the Romans had made. The Constitution stated that our government consisted of 3 branches in order to divide up the power. Unlike previous governments, the framers knew this law they created would last a very long time. As Thomas Jefferson once said, "A wise and frugal government, which shall leave men free to regulate their own pursuits of industry and improvement, and shall not take from the mouth of labor the bread it has earned, this is the sum of good government." This would allow for Americans to accomplish and create almost anything the people wanted. By creating this type of government, Americans could strive and do anything as they desired. With these types of freedoms, Americans started up businesses throughout our young nation. However, we did have some struggles throughout the Gilded Age. But then, in the early 1900s, Teddy Roosevelt and the Progressives brought power back to the people. When our country matured to around 160 years of age, we were the superpower of the world. We accomplished something no other government or empire has ever done before. America would not be able to do this if it was not for the people. The reason we are number 1 is because a million minds are better than one. Just like every other government, ours is imperfect. John Adams once said, "While all sciences have advanced, that of government is at a standstill. Little better understood, little better practiced now than 3,000 or 4,000 years ago." For thousands of years, the majority of governments were ruled by a family or one individual. The creation of our government took us to the next step in history. As time goes on, to me, it seems unlike previous governments, in America, you are free to choose what you wish to do. People who perform actions of civic service are highly respected in society. For example, high school students who do many hours of serving the community are more likely to get accepted into college than students who do not fulfill these objectives. We are a nation built upon respect, gratitude, and patriotism. If the people of America did not put effort into serving the country, it would collapse. The men and women who serve in our military do what they do as a duty to serve their country honorably, so that every American can live a life of freedom. As time goes on, though, it seems to me fewer people are becoming patriotic. In school, fewer than half the students say the Pledge of Allegiance. Every day, we have men and women dying for our freedoms, and another day for us to live free. But yet, some people refuse to say the Pledge of Allegiance. For one, I think it should be mandatory. But then, every American has the right not to do so. We elect officials to represent us in our government. This is a simplified version of how our country functions. If the people did not put effort into serving the United States, the country would collapse from the inside. This may sound simple, but in reality, it is very complicated. It is not easy electing officials to represent us that will actually do what we want. For example, in Germany, the people were destitute and ended up electing Adolf Hitler as their chancellor in 1933. These are the things we must watch out for when we are in an era of a depression. As time goes on, to me it seems patriotism is a waning thought, and fewer people are willing to serve for their homeland. If the ideals of our country and patriotism were promoted more, the citizens of America would be much different than what most are like today. As John Adams once said, our Constitution was made for a holy and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. These are the types of people that allow for us to move on while teaching the importance of the Constitution. No matter how hard we strive to make this country perfect, it will never happen. Everyone is different. Even if you could make almost everyone do what was right for the United States, there will always be that one person that will not do what needs to be done. But that's what people are best at, doing what they want. Yet, there are people that do like to help others, but unlike in a utopia where you wish to help out your neighbor more than yourself, in America, you do what you want. As Americans, we have more freedoms than any other government allowed in the history of the world. As well as we all know, the happiness of society is the end of government. However, the glorious thing about our country is it is not perfect. America allows for changes and improvises towards what the people want, and not what one person believes is right. We have always been one step ahead of any other nation. That is what makes America more superior than any other country. We allow for change in our government to go along with the society in which we live in. I, for one, love what the Constitution means. The men and women who serve in our military, do what they do so that we can live on and prosper. Other governments force people to abide in their military, but we allow for anybody to jump in and join. I, as a young American, love what the Constitution of the United States stands for. I will endeavor to promote these principles in every facet of my life. Thank you.
Okay. 8 minutes and 12 seconds.